You ever have one of those days where all you want to do is cast a line, breathe some fresh air, maybe forget about your worries for a little while, and then out of nowhere, you get hit with the kind of drama that makes you wonder if you woke up in the wrong timeline? Yeah, that was me. The morning I found out that fishing could turn you into public enemy number one, all because someone decided to wield aesthetic integrity, like it was the law of the land. And trust me, you're not going to believe how deep this rabbit hole goes. So picture this. It's a picture-perfect June morning. Air smells like pine and sunlight lakes flat as a mirror, and somewhere off in the distance you can just barely hear a lawnmower whining over the hum of cicadas. I've been running a little fishing guide business out of my cabin for a couple years now. Nothing fancy, just helping weekend warriors and neighborhood kids untangle lines from the cattails and learn what patience looks like when you're 8 and itching to catch your first bluegill. I was setting up on the old dock boots, creaking sun, just warm enough to make you grateful tackle box open and organized, the way my granddad taught me. Every lure in its place, hooks sharp, nothing out of line. I toss out line zipping, and not 5 minutes later I feel that familiar tug, steady, not huge, but one of those fighters that always makes you smile, right? I'm reeling in, lost in that dance when this voice slices through the quiet like a chainsaw through my morning meditation. And here she comes, Paula Green, HOA president, keeper of the sacred bylaws, and apparently destroyer of mornings. She's striding down from her manicured lawn-pressed khakis, a silk scarf probably worth more than my monthly grocery tab, waving this pink slip like she's about to serve a warrant. But what really grabbed my attention wasn't Paula herself. It was the brand new teal-colored sign she pointed at, shining like a fresh penny in the sun. Lake Aesthetics Committee, it read, all official, no barbed hooks, catch and release only. That thing looked newer than the coffee I'd poured myself 20 minutes earlier. You ever see a sign that you know for a fact wasn't there yesterday? That was this. Paula's clutching a pink citation in her perfectly manicured hand, acting like this was the 10 Commandments and I'd just rolled in to smash them. Behind her, Victor, clipboard in hand, nodding like one of those dashboard dogs doing his best official backup impression. You're in violation, she declares, all righteous fury of Appendix E. Only barbless hooks permitted in community waters. Your lure disrupts the natural ecosystem and compromises the aesthetic integrity of our lake. I look at my line, tiny fish wiggling, not exactly a threat to civilization, and just stand there dumbstruck. I'd fished this lake 2 years straight, same gear, never a peep. Suddenly I'm some kind of eco-terrorist because a microbarb smaller than a rice grain. Paula keeps going, beauty is more important than crude fishing hooks. I nearly laughed, but honestly I wanted to throw my rod in the lake and walk away. Part of me thought, all right, just sign the paper, pay the $50 and let her feel victorious. But the smug look, the way she glanced at that 2 new signs, something felt off. Instead, I pull out my phone and scan the QR code on the bottom of the sign. It links to a PDF on the HOA site, so I open the dock properties. And here's where it gets weird. That PDF was created at 2:37 a.m., not yesterday, but this morning. Multiple edits between midnight and 3, so while I was out cold, someone was up inventing new rules just in time for sunrise. I take a few screenshots, heart pounding. I ask, hold up, don't HOAs require notice votes hearings? Paula laughs like I'd told a joke only she thought was funny. Victor looks everywhere but at me. The fine is $50. Equipment confiscation is immediate under emergency aesthetic provisions. I swear I'd never heard that phrase, and I'd read every boring line in those HOA docs when I bought the cabin. But Paula's standing there like she's a U.S. Marshal, and I'm about to get cuffed over a fishing rod. I step back, take photos of the sign, the citation, and the doc metadata, anything to prove what's actually happening. It all felt surreal, like I'd stumbled into a bureaucratic fever dream. This wasn't about fishing anymore. It was about whether someone could change the rules in the dark and expect everyone to fall in line when the sun came up. You have 24 hours to pay and surrender your equipment. Paula snaps, voice sharp. After that, we'll pursue legal channels. The irony's rich, considering the law she's threatening me with was cooked up in a Word doc at 3 a.m. I spend the rest of the morning digging through every policy on the HOA website, every last parking rule pool policy landscape guideline. They all show the same thing updated in the dead of night sometimes, just hours before someone gets slapped with a citation. I'm starting to realize Paula's running a one-woman midnight legislature making rules while everyone else is asleep. And then I get a break. Next morning I'm at Riverside Coffee, drowning my worries in a mug of black roast, when I hear Paula's voice drifting from the next table. She's talking to Victor about lake ownership issues, saying nobody's checked the boundaries in years. Most folks just assume we own the lake bed. Victor laughs gravel in a blender. It's worked so far. People follow the rules. The more official it looks, the less they ask questions. That's when it hits me these folks are bluffing. Their authority is built on nothing but confidence and paperwork that sounds legit. I text my brother, Noah, tell him to bring his surveyor tools to the cabin. Turns out he's handy with county records, old deeds, all that stuff. We walk the boundaries, and right as we're checking the original iron stakes, Paula shows up, snapping, "Your brother has no authority here." Noah calmly flashes the county map. Paula gets visibly twitchy but can't stop us. He finds the documentation's a mess, old quarry sales, incomplete transfers, weird water rights. Suddenly this isn't just about fishing hooks. It's about whether the HOA actually owns the lake. That night I'm knee-deep in property law. And just when I think it can't get weirder, Mrs. Anderson Quiet Cardigan, the kind of neighbor who's seen it all, shows up with a manila folder thick enough to choke a goat. She's been documenting every one of Paula's abuses, fines for tomato plants, threats over parking, you name it. We compare her evidence to mine midnight PDF edits, policy changes without votes, all of it. A web of made-up rules Paula's been using to shake down anyone who asks questions. Next thing I know, Mrs. Anderson and I are leading a small resistance. She starts going door to door, finds out nearly everyone has a Paula horror story. We organize a petition, folks line up at the community center, signature after signature, 50 people, more than half the community. That's when the real fireworks start. Paula retaliates. Citations for lawn height, bogus parking fines, emergency bans that look tailor-made for anyone who spoke up. Instead of scaring people off, she just fuels the fire. Mrs. Anderson documents every bit of it, while my attorney friend Lena starts building a case to challenge the HOA's authority for real. Here's where it all comes together, turns out. After weeks of Lena digging through dusty records and Noah mapping out boundaries, the HOA doesn't actually own the lake bed. The property had slipped through the cracks, no one's paid taxes on it for years, and it's up for public auction. Lena says, let's form a trust, buy the lake bed ourselves, and run things the right way. So we go to the county auction community center, packed coffee brewing, tension so thick you could slice it. Paula tries one last desperate move, demanding the clerk bar us from bidding, but gets shut down hard. The gavel falls. Lake Wedge Trust wins the bid. Suddenly, the community owns the lake. Paula's emergency provisions are dead, and the air in the room changes from anxiety to jubilation. But Paula isn't done. She marches over the next day, waves her latest midnight PDF, now claiming safety risks mean nobody can fish ever. I just smile, pull out my phone, and play back her old speech about aesthetic integrity. The contradiction so obvious the crowd bursts out laughing. Then Mrs. Anderson, never one to waste a dramatic moment, slams down her audit, shows Paula's been funneling HOA funds to her yard, her family, her lawyer pals. The crowd loses it. The vote to remove Paula is swift. 43 hands up, no one on her side. She packs up her papers and slinks away, defeated by receipts and neighborly stubbornness. The new board, led by Sarah, calm, level-headed, starts using our permission ledger system for lake access, community picnics, fishing tournaments, you name it. Everyone signs up, colored wristbands track who's doing what, and rules are simple, public, and voted on. No more midnight regulations, no more intimidation. These days, the lake's busier than ever, kids casting lines, families grilling, laughter echoing across the water. The permission ledger's stuffed with signatures, and people actually trust the system. The HOA runs on transparency, community votes, and real accountability because we earned it the hard way. So, here's my question for you. What would you do if your HOA tried to take over a lake they never owned just because they could print a sign and make up the rules? Would you fight or pay the fine and hope they left you alone? Drop your stories in the comments. I want to hear about your battles, your victories, or your neighbor from hell. And hey, if this wild ride gave you a laugh or made you rethink authority, do me a favor. Hit that, like, subscribe, maybe share with a friend who loves a good plot twist. Until next time, may your lake stay calm, your hooks stay sharp, and your neighbors stay honest.